Alright, so I figured I should quickly go through honor talents, um, just to update the previous video, um, since I've learned new things and the meta's changed slightly. There's been a few buffs and nerfs and that sort of thing as well. So I figured I'd just share with you guys what I've learned and what I think of everything now and what you should be trying to go for. I realise disc isn't in the best place right now, but I guess the more you know, the better go of it you can make, you know. So Trinket I'm using mostly at the moment. It's just pretty standard again. But you can run Relentless against Cleaves. Still solid. And against Paladins I usually run Adaptation. I think it's a good choice. With how often they're running at you for Hodges, I think it makes a huge difference. Even if they have like a Hunter or something, if you can adapt that Hodge to avoid the follow-up CC, it makes such a big difference. So that's when I use those. Defender of the Week I use a lot of the time against anything that has a remote chance of going on me, or any kind of AoE damage, dot damage, that sort of thing that could also be on me. I run that. Everything else I run Vim and Vigor. And then occasionally in twos, if I want to outlast, I'll run Inner Renewal. Well, I say occasionally, you want to be using that whenever you can get away with it. So against most stuff, you can actually run that, but you'll find that some comps you'll want this if they train you hard, since you're going to be running Castigation. So for Ferals, for example, Assassination Rogues, you might need this. But again, it's down to personal preference. If you can get away with Inner Renewal, go for Inner Renewal. Because you're just going to straight up outlast teams with that talent. It's so good. Purification I use most of the time. You can use... I haven't found too many uses for Spiritual Cleansing yet, but you can use Purified Resolve against like a DK team, where you don't have to dispel that much, and if they're like cleaving you and you have Purified Resolve, it's just a little bit more absorb, which is always nice. So that's one to go for. Searing Light, Premonition, Solemn Prayers. So this tier is going to get changed next patch, and Solemn Prayers is going to be gone, which is a real shame. But we'll see how that pans out. We're going to get a new talent there called Trinity, which is going to increase, if they don't change it at the moment on PTR, it increases the duration of Atonement to 30 seconds, I believe, and increases how much healing you get from Atonement by 20%, but you can only apply Atonement with Plea, and you can only have it on 3 people, which doesn't matter for Arena, that's fine. And assuming we can get away with not having Solemn Prayers, it's just a nice extra thing to have. But again, you're going to need Premonition against mage teams, against hunter teams. You just want it. It's a solid talent. Obviously, you can def Hex, you can def Poly, you can def kind of scatter shots, you can def hunter traps and all sorts. You can def all the fears except Priest Fear. So if you're confident with this, go for this against a lot of stuff. Searing Light is good in twos. That's going to give you a lot of extra damage, especially since 3 smites is going to reset your penance cooldown. So you can penance 3 smites, then penance, and it's great damage, especially with Castigation. So this is a good choice as well in twos. Yeah, not much else to say really. I don't run this too much in threes. Generally, I run one of these 2 in threes because you don't get that many smites off in threes. But yeah, we'll see how that new Trinity talent fares next patch. Quite exciting to see. Alright, we got Strength of Soul, Renewed Hope, and Dome of Light. The thing you need to think about with Strength of Soul, right, is your Power Word Shield is gonna reduce physical damage by 30%. Now, if you're running against a class that is all fizz damage, so like Warrior, Monk, Feral, there's a lot of fizz damage, Outlaw or Sub-Rogues, and Hunters, I guess, they're all having a lot of fizz damage. Now, if all of the damage into the shield is fizz, then the least amount of increase on your shield that is going to do is 30%. So if your shield is absorbing 230k, it's going to be different in Arena because of template, but if it's going to be absorbing 230k, then 30% of that, it's going to be about, what, 60k? No, 70k, something like that. 70k. And if you now look at Renewed Hope is going to increase, going to heal you for 84k, but that's going to be affected by MS. Now, against these Fizz classes, the least it can do is 30%. So if they do a really fat hit for way more than your shield, it's still going to reduce that hit by 30%. So it's going to increase the value of that. And so it's going to increase the value of your shield by more than 30% effectively. Also, if they hit just smaller than your shield and then do a fat hit into that last bit of shield, that's also going to be reduced by 30%. So that's why this is always better against these Fizz classes. Whereas if the class is only doing maybe 50% Fizz damage, a lot of the damage into the shield isn't going to be affected by this. The shield's going to come off and then it's not going to do anything anymore. Whereas this is going to be a solid 84k healing no matter what. Because it comes at the start of the shield. It's also, this can't be purged, this can, since this only holds when the shield holds. So any class that is going to be any less than, I don't know, 70-80% Fizz damage into the shield, it's probably better to go for Renewed Hope. Assassination Rogues, you want Renewed Hope. Well, to be fair, Assassination Rogues you want Dome of Light, but there's a different reason for that I'll come to in a minute. Any kind of casters, Renewed Hope is going to do more. Rep Palas, Renewed Hope is going to do more. DKs, Demon Hunters, stuff like that. Enhanced Shamans, I would go Renewed Hope as well. Because the heal mostly isn't going to be reduced, and it's going to come at the start, and it's going to be worth more than that Fizz, the way the Fizz increases your shield. So that's kind of my mentality behind choosing one of these two. Now the last talent is Dome of Light, which is actually really awesome. It's going to make your barrier 50%, and it's going to reduce the cooldown to 2 minutes. I use this against more and more stuff now. I kind of pass against casters, but against a lot of, in threes especially, like melee comps, I use this because of how much damage it actually reduces, and how much pressure you can avoid if your team manages to stay in it. Barrier is a little tricky to use because of how mobile a lot of classes are and how the game moves around the map, but if you can use it well, it's actually really good. And if you can pop this before you know you're going to get CC'd, it's really good. You can avoid your team using a lot of CDs, and it's only 2 minutes. It's better than PS if you use it well. And as I was saying, against Assassination Rogues, I use this now. If I can get this down before the Vendetta, well, when he Vendettas before the Kidney, this is going to pretty much negate that Vendetta, and reduce that pressure so much, and it's so nice, because then you can just go offensive. But yeah, that's that tier. I think that's everything I wanted to say about that. This is actually getting buffed next patch to 45% as well. I have no idea why. Apparently Blizzard thinks that this is the thing making priests not viable, so but yeah, I'll put a link in the description of the video to my Google document guide, and at the bottom of that it has all the things that I think are wrong with priests and things that I think need to be fixed and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I won't complain about it here, but that's the place to go. Now last tier, Power Word Fortitude. Pretty much never go. Was thinking about it against like non-dispel teams, but with the number of Archangels and the amount of extra healing this is going to do over the course of a game, you need this so much, especially in threes, but also in a lot of twos games. You just need the extra healing to pop and recover with. Without it, you just burn so much mana and time just spamming Shadow Men doing nothing. So yeah, Archangel is pretty 90% of the time is the one to go for. 10% of the time, if you're feeling brave, you can go Dark Archangel, and it can be good for your team to one-shot something if you're really coordinated, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's worth it. I think Archangel keeping your team offensive rather than going defensive is just so important. So yeah, I'd say that's the one to go for. But yeah, it dragged on a little bit longer than I wanted to. But yeah, you can go to the guide in the description, and it's got everything in more detail written down. So hopefully that helps. Cheers.